So since the leak and since more than maybe like 1/3 the tank has been exposed to air, there has been some setback to say the least. Hey, what's up, Reefer? So it's been an intense couple of days as comments are streaming in for the 150-gallon tank. I have an idea of which way I want to go, but today we're going to talk about the 45-gallon tank because the 45-gallon tank recently leaked. Give you guys an update and then talk about one fix I'm going to apply to that tank. Now, as you guys remember, a few weeks ago we have a leak along the seam. I have not had any good luck with silicone seam the last part of this year. So with the help of easily brief Antonio's trick, which is to use super glue and baking soda, this seam has held this entire time. So let's jump forward in time to when I just found out that the 150-gallon got bubble in the silicone seam. I was talking to a lot of experts, and one of them is Lou from Tropic Maryland. He gave me his awesome advice, and he's actually the one that came up with the ideas of using a marker to mark the bubble and track its progress. Now, one option he provided is actually that he works with a company in Germany called Aquarium Munster, and one product that they have is actually this guy right here. And this is called the, brace yourself, the underwater caliber. I hope I did not butcher it. And what this is basically underwater sealant. It is totally reef safe and cures underwater, and this sounds a little bit too good to be true. So I told Lou that if a tank is not set up yet and I need to do patches like this, most likely I will not stay with the tank. However, when he mentioned this product, my eyes lit up because I told him that, you know what, my 45-gallon tank recently sprung a leak and I have to keep the tank running. So this is actually perfect. All right guys, so this is what's in there. Simple tube with a little applicator tip that I got to cut off the tip to see what size bead I want. And obviously for this tank it will be, actually no, you know what, I'm gonna be pretty generous with it. It's gonna cover the entire seam because at this point cosmetic is like last of my worries. I want to make sure it's structurally sound. Man, look at all these, this is nuts. Now that I know what to look for in terms of bubbles. Yo, this is coming apart, man. I shouldn't be laughing, but holy crap, in some way this is funny. Like, now that I know what to look for. Has this always been this bad? I don't think it's always been this bad. This is insane. But the good thing is that I do have baking soda and super glue all along the edge. Yeah, this came at a really good time. Again, thank you, Lou. Let me just reinforce the seam on the inside. Just like really thicken the layer. And then I think whatever the resolution for the 150, I have to do it quick. Quite a few people have reached out to me with like that exact tank. And they just mentioned blowouts before. Just even though it's a fantastic, beautiful tank, and the dimension is fantastic as well. I actually don't mind the height at all because I specifically picked that tank for that height. I know it's gonna suck working in it, but I think the visual impact would be fantastic. Unfortunately, with the silicone situation, it's just not safe. Let's go ahead and patch this up, and then we'll do a quick update on the entire tank.
20 minutes later.
Hey guys, so as I showed, we cleaned up the edges. Just somewhat cleaner, but right now I'm going to move this coral, move the frog spawn, and then we're going to start applying the adhesive. So I understand.
Black.
Yeah, it is black. So Lou to say that this is black, which is okay over black silicone. It kind of fits. Okay, there we go. That's a really small bead, by the way. This way. Let's try it.
Ew.
This is really small. I think I need something thicker.
No, I think that's enough.
You think so?
Yes.
I don't think that's enough.
Yes, that's enough.
Okay. All right, let's go. So here goes nothing. Problem is I can't really. Can you see it?
Cool, yeah.
Let's try it there first.
Ooh. Fail. Oh, look at your finger.
I should wear gloves now that I think about it. Let me put gloves on.
Too late.
Jeez, man.
Hello. Measure.
Okay. Just feel like I'm.
Squeeze off.
There we go. I think I was like pushing a tip into the glass, so I'm actually like pushing the thing out.
Ayo.
Okay, yeah, this kind of looks better. I'm gonna do this side. That side, I see a couple spots that not great. So we'll go back over. But for now, let's do this right here. We're gonna move this now first. Bro. Okay, so this edge is actually not bad, but just in case. Yep, as you can see, I'm terrible at these DIY stuff.
You should let me do it.
Probably should have. It's not great. It's not great. I feel like I overlapped it. I should do the two edges instead of just in the middle. Oh, shit.
No.
That's not good. Shit, the
I
skimmer's
think you should
overflowing.
let it dry and then add another layer later.
Alright, skimmer's overflowing.
Bye, say.
Okay, one thing I did not keep in mind is that this is actually some type of epoxy, and epoxy makes your skimmer go nuts. So that is what's happening here. This is probably not what the manufacturer want to be seen representing the product, but you know, it did its job. I think I did a D+ job, and I overestimated my DIY skills. But I think to the best of my ability, we kind of cover enough of the seam to make it effective. For now, I'm trying to wrap it under saran wrap to preserve whatever we got. We still got maybe like half a tube, except I totally destroyed it, but by grabbing it with like my dirty hand and whatnot. But I do think that something like this would be valuable to have on hand. That's why I want to preserve whatever we got left in here and store them. Thank you, Lou from Tropic Marin, for recommending the Aquarium Munster underwater clever. Underwater clever. Hold on. Let me try it one more time. Underwater clever.
I gotta Google this.
It's supposed to be really fantastic underwater sealant, except I have no skills in terms of caulking and smoothing things out. But still, it looks pretty good, and I feel like the seal is much nicer, and I have a little bit more confidence in terms of the seal holding until we can get something up and running, which is hopefully soon. Emily is actually Googling it right now to see how it's pronounced.
Untor Hosakibra.
Aquarium Munster Sweeper.
He doesn't approve.
Alright, you know what, man? Just look at this. Fantastic product.
Super.
Great to have around the house just in case, as well as flex tape.
What's his name in German again?
Sweeper.
No.
We got it. I'm sorry, our German audience.
Untor Hasakibra. Our German friend, let me know if I pronounce it right.
Okay. Alright guys, I knocked over the Space Invader. I actually knocked off the magnet. I'm gonna fix that and we'll call it a night. We're gonna check back with this tank in a day or two to see how the seam is cured, and we'll see how it goes. Once again, thank you, Lou and Aquarium Munster, for creating Fribra. See you guys in a couple days.
3 days later.
Alright, Reefers, that's been a couple days. Let's just take a look at the seam. So as you can see, not the cleanest fixing job that I have done. However, seems to be at least covering the seam, so I think we should be alright. As for the livestock, as expected, everything seems okay. And using the underwater sealant did not affect the livestock at all, so that is fantastic. Now let's do a quick update on this tank, shall we? So since the leak, and since more than maybe like 1/3 the tank has been exposed to air, there has been some setback to say the least. Namely the SPS in the back. If you take a peek right there, you see that there, you see all the die-off right there, but thankfully things started growing back. That includes some of the branches right here, especially this one. I thought it's pretty much gone, or because it's like bleach white, but as you can see, some of the polyps survived and started spreading upwards back to the branch as well. However, I can't say the same for these branches right here, so I'm kind of torn. I'm wondering if I should kind of like clean off the algae and let the polyp recolonize, or should I just kind of snip them off? I'm leaning more towards snipping them off, but I'm kind of like waiting to see what's going on, so I'll give it maybe another 2 or 3 weeks to see how things goes. As for the Monty cap, it bounced back fantastically. As you can see, it used to be pretty much bleach white up here, but it's totally colored up. and things are back to normal. Same thing with this one right here. It seems really resilient, and only the very tip it's still bleached. But otherwise, the polyp has pretty much recolonized the entire mini colony. The other coral that really suffered is actually the hammer. I have lost one head in this ordeal, and actually there was another frag back here. There was like a 2-head small frags, and that was just a goner. So the hammer was another casualty of that whole thing. Everything else seems to have made it out pretty much unscratched, thankfully, and knocked on wood. And in this past month, I actually switched over to the ATI Essential Pro, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But essentially, it's 2 parts. It's alkalinity calcium, and it also has the addition of trace elements on top of the calcium. So it's not just the standard 2 parts. But again, I'll talk a little bit more about it down the road. I'm kind of testing it out to see how the corals respond to it. But so far, things seems really happy. But I'm dialing in the beep. Dude, come on, what are you doing? Yeah, she's crazy. So I know one complaint about the previous videos that after I did the local fish store tour, I did not really give an update on the livestock in the tank. So I apologize, here it is. Here's the, what I know is Outron Favia. You see that is really happy, even sent out stingers to trying to get to the other chaos. Thankfully it's not reaching, but I'm keeping an eye out. For the cleaner shrimp, I thought I lost them the second day because I don't see them at all. However, both of them are apparently still in the tank and still really happy. They have not gone to the point where they start stealing from corals yet during feeding time, but they're getting a little bit bolder, so I'm keeping an eye out on them as well. But I do feel that they add a nice splash of color and activity in the tank. And another critter that I was really excited about is actually this little guy right here, which actually has grown quite a bit in the past 2-3 weeks. So this is, if the camera can focus, this is the tuxedo urchin, and this is the red one. The standard white or gray one is actually in the refugium doing some good work down there, but the red one is up here keeping the glass and rock clean. I also want to show you guys some of the zoas and pelifrag that I've done in the last 2-3 months, and they seem to be really growing well and encrusting onto the plug, which is fantastic. So these give me a little courage, and I most likely will start fragging up the zoa and peli rock a little bit more, and possibly start trading or selling locally as well. The Bali Minimax anemone has been just like all over the tank. They kind of spread out, floated around, attached, just like this one right here. It somehow landed on top of the zoa colony, and there it called home. And coming down over here, you see that the Space Invader is back. Thanks again, Jim, my Reef Sensei Telegram, for rescuing it. Now that the tank parameter is a little bit more stable, we decided that, okay, maybe it's time for it to come home and give it like, what, this is like the 5th try. So here it is, puffy, happy, getting ready to sting his neighbor one more time. Now, one thing we gotta talk about in this tank is the rose bubble tip anemone. It's just simply dominating. Look at this, it's kind of reaching out everywhere, stinging everything in their path and blocking things underneath it. However, there's such a centerpiece of this tank, I just can't really bring myself to thinning out the herd. So right now, I think I got 6 or 7 rose bubble tip anemone in here. I'm debating whether I want to bring these guys over to the new tank that will hopefully be up in 2 or 3 months. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that bubble tip anemone has a place in a reef tank? I know there's people that swears off anemone simply because of how damaging they could be to a reef. Well, coming down a little bit here, we got the green star polyp. This is the same ones from the drop-off tank. I still got a frag going. And back there's actually a frag of green star polyps from Dave's Nano Tank, thanks to Mr. Billy Pipe for hooking me up with a frag. So we got these 2 morph going. And coming back here that I've not shown you guys about for a while. Oh, they all went in hiding. So that is the Christmas tree worm rock. All the tubes still have worms in it, and they have been doing really well, as well as the Rasta zoas. It's kind of slowly taking over the rock. It's sliding over a little bit. Oh, you can't really see. I kind of see it. There's Bob, everybody's favorite Aptasia. Still doing well, probably still dropping babies. The fish have been keeping the babies in check, so I do not actually see any baby Aptasia. I'm guessing maybe it is the filefish, this guy, that's keeping the baby in check. Now you may be wondering, where's the other filefish? So if you follow me on Instagram, you may know that I actually moved the smaller filefish of the pair to the 10-gallon tank because my 10-gallon tank is being overrun by like baby Aptasias. So this is kind of like a test for me, right? To see if these filefish actually go after Aptasias. I know the Bristol tail ones do, but I'm not sure if these radial ones do, so that's gonna be a test. And Kramer, the yellow chorus wrasse, well, no, I keep making that mistake. Kramer, silver belly wrasse. is somewhere in here. I mean, he shows up once in a while to greet us with his presence, but obviously this morning he's not in the mood. But then again, the lights turn on. That's why all the corals are still kind of small. Usually they kind of puff up a lot more. Maybe this may be like 2/3 the size. It gets a lot larger. And I also want to point out the acans are super happy. I have been dosing the Brightwell amino acid, like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, and I like it so much that, look at this, we need to supersize this because I'm just burning through that little droplet bottle. Overall, things in this tank is healthy. I wish I can slap one more power head on that side and just get more like crazier, higher flow, but I'm nervous about the seam. I don't want to put too much pressure on the silicone seam. So we're just kind of limping by until the new tank is up and I can start moving things out of this tank. All right guys, so in terms of the new tank, obviously 150 was meant to be a replacement for the 45, but that is not happening. So what I'm doing now is actually looking at different full setups. I just want something that's plug and play and ready to go. I'm looking at different manufacturers as well. I want a tank that's either really tall or really deep. So we're kind of back on the drawing board, but this time with a fire under my butt. So hopefully this will be done within a week or two. And we can start setting up that tank, get a cycle, and start moving things out of this tank. Because again, I do not feel comfortable with a silicone seam like this, even though we reinforce it from the outside and now from the inside as well. I just want to get everything out before it's too late. So my question for you is this. Between maybe like a deeper tank, for example, like a lagoon tank, or like a taller tank, do you have a preference? How about some tank that's in weird shape, for example, like the drop-off tank? What do you guys think about that? Because right now we have a choice again, although I do have to make a decision really quickly. Anyways guys, as always, I've rambled long enough, so I'm gonna cap this video off right here. I'm gonna see you guys next Sunday at 12:30 p.m. sharp. Bye. They look so different. The clownfish doesn't perceive him as being well, I spoke too soon.